Welcome to Peak Finance, your algorithmically pegged asset on METIS Andromeda. In this introduction video, we will give you a broad overview of how the Peak ecosystem operates and why participating in Peak can be both exciting and profitable. We have other videos in our series which dive deeper into the functions of Peak, but for now, let's take a look at what Peak is. Peak is an algorithmically pegged asset on the METIS Andromeda Layer 2. This means that Peak will always follow the price action of METIS, whether it is up or down. So how does it work? Well, firstly, Peak Finance utilises two economic functions, seigniorage and inflation, to stabilise the Peak token at a 1-for-1 value to METIS. For this to work, the Peak ecosystem needs to consist of three tokens: the Peak token, the Pro token, and the Pond token. The Peak token is the asset that is pegged, which means matched at a 1-for-1 value to METIS. In doing this, we bring more liquidity to METIS Andromeda and provide more means of transaction as well. The Pro token is a share token earned through the ecosystem via staking Peak and METIS LP. The Pro token helps maintain the peg of Peak through inflation. When Peak is above the price of METIS, you can stake your Pro tokens to print more Peak tokens. This creates profit in Peak for the Pro holder and increases the supply of Peak in the ecosystem. Thus, using inflation to bring the price of Peak back in line with METIS and once again establishing a 1-to-1 peg. Next, we have the Pond token, which is comparable to a contract for difference that utilises the concept of seigniorage. Seigniorage is the profit or loss generated from the difference in costs of creating a currency or token to the value of that token once it is created. Say it costs $10 to create a $100 bill. The seigniorage profit is $90. When the price of Peak is below the price of METIS, the Peak Treasury will issue ponds at the current Peak price. You can purchase these ponds with Peak, which will burn the tokens used, reducing the available supply and increasing the price of Peak again until it reaches peg. Once Peak is at or above peg with METIS, you will be able to redeem each pond for Peak again, with the difference in price to generate that Peak as your profit. Here is an example. Let's say you have a METIS worth $100 and a Peak worth $80. You can purchase one pond for one Peak at $80, burning the Peak, reducing circulating supply, and bringing the price of Peak up. When the price of Peak is back above peg, say 1.15 Peak per METIS or $115 to $100, you can redeem that one pond for 1.105 Peak tokens. The 1.105 is a variable rate which depends on how far above the peg we are. So in this example, the seigniorage or difference in creation cost is 0.105 Peak tokens, or 12.075, bringing the total profit on bond exchange to 47.075 instead of the $35 it would have been if you had just held your Peak. This is the fundamentals of seigniorage and inflation at work, in tandem to help maintain a stable 1-for-1 marriage with the METIS token. As you can see, there are many ways to generate profits from being both below and above peg. All three tokens of the Peak ecosystem have a key role to play. If you are bullish on the METIS Andromeda system like we are, investing in the Peak ecosystem alongside METIS is an excellent way to generate income from excellent APRs, while still maintaining similar risk profiles to just holding METIS, as the ecosystem follows the price action of METIS. In our next video, we will dive into the Genesis pools and the different staking options that will be available for you early in the life of the Peak ecosystem. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again in the next video.